Hey there, my friend. Welcome back to Cowboys News TV. I know it's been a bit slow in the Cowboys news world lately, but you know what? Sometimes that just means things are bubbling beneath the surface. And right now, there's a big rumor floating around that could shake things up for our Cowboys. The possibility of a Dak Prescott trade to the Cleveland Browns. Now, before you start panicking or getting excited, let's talk about where this rumor's coming from. I've got a source within the Browns organization, and apparently part of the reason why Myles Garrett was so eager to sign his recent contract extension is because the Browns are actively negotiating a trade with the Cowboys for Dak Prescott. Yeah, you heard that right. According to these sources, Garrett's excited about the prospect of bringing Dak to Cleveland. But hold up, this is where it gets interesting. As much as we love some juicy trade gossip, we need to take this with a huge grain of salt. First off, Dak has a no-trade clause in his contract, which makes it way more complicated. And with Dak dealing with a hamstring injury, he might not even be ready for the start of training camp. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and not all of them make sense. But hey, what if it happens? Do you think this trade could go through? Or is it just another case of the media playing with rumors? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you be on board with sending Dak to Cleveland? Or do you think this is just a wild rumor that's not going anywhere? All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to something else that's been making waves in the NFL. This one hits a little closer to home for us Cowboys fans. The new rule directed specifically at ceedee Lamb. You don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned. All right, now that we've addressed the trade rumors, let's talk about something that's actually happening in the NFL. A new rule that is shaking things up, and it's all about our very own ceedee Lamb. The NFL has just passed a rule that will penalize players with a 15-yard penalty if they perform ceedee's iconic first down celebration. Yeah, you heard that right. The league has essentially named this the Lamb Rule. Now, I don't know about you, but this feels a bit off, doesn't it? For those of you who don't know, ceedee has this signature move where after a big play, whether it's a first down or a touchdown, he pops up and flexes. It's become his thing, and let's be honest, it's pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't love a little swagger after making a play? But now the NFL is cracking down on this celebration, calling it violent or unsportsmanlike. Really? Are we seriously saying that a little flex after a big moment in the game is a problem? This feels like another case of the NFL being the no-fun league once again. Players like Deebo Samuel and others do similar celebrations, but it seems like ceedee Lamb is the one getting singled out here. ceedee himself has responded to the rule, calling it corny and acknowledging that it's kind of funny that the NFL has decided to name this after him. But honestly, you can see where he's coming from. Celebrations are a part of what makes the game fun. They're about showing personality, connecting with the fans, and having a little fun out there. So, what do you think about this rule? Do you think the NFL is overreacting, or is this just another way to clean up the game? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the league should lighten up on celebrations, or is it time to rein it in for safety's sake? All right, now that we've dissected the ceedee Lamb rule, let's get into another topic that's been floating around. And it's all about our backup quarterback situation. You might have heard the whispers, and it's time to dive in. Keep watching. Now that we've covered the ceedee Lamb rule, let's talk about another hot topic that's been on Cowboys fans' minds. The fate of Trey Lance and what it means for our backup quarterback situation. So, here's the deal. Trey Lance came to the Cowboys with a lot of potential. At first, it seemed like the team was grooming him to be a future backup for Dak Prescott. But, as we all know, things haven't quite worked out the way we expected. Lance barely got any playing time last season, and when he did, it wasn't exactly impressive. In fact, many fans were left scratching their heads, wondering why the Cowboys didn't give him more of a chance to prove himself. And now, things have taken an even sadder turn. Reports are surfacing that Lance is now heading to the CFL, with the Saskatchewan Roughriders reportedly interested in signing him. It's a tough break for a guy who was once seen as a future star in this league, but it also raises serious questions about the Cowboys' backup quarterback plans moving forward. With Lance seemingly out of the picture, the Cowboys are left with Dak Prescott and Will Grier as the only quarterbacks on the roster. But let's be real. Can Will Grier be the long-term answer if Dak were to go down? I mean, it's great to have a backup, but we need someone who can step in and perform at a high level if necessary. And with the potential for Dak to get injured, it happens. It's absolutely crucial the Cowboys find a more reliable backup. So, what's the plan, Cowboys Nation? Do you think the team should sign a veteran quarterback to back up Dak, or should they develop someone else from within? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. All right, now that we've unpacked the Trey Lance situation, it's time to shift gears and talk about the Dak trade rumors again. This time, we're going to dive into why that trade might not be as likely as some people think. Stay tuned. Okay, now that we've covered everything from ceedee's new rule to Trey Lance's uncertain future, let's go back to the big rumor that's been making rounds. The potential trade of Dak Prescott to the Cleveland Browns. While some folks are out here getting excited about the idea, it's time we break down the real reasons why this trade is not likely to happen anytime soon. First off, let's talk about the most obvious roadblock: Dak Prescott's no-trade clause. That's right, folks. Dak has a clause in his contract that prevents him from being traded unless he agrees to it. So even if the Browns, or any other team for that matter, came calling with a big offer, Dak would have to waive that clause. And here's the thing. Why would he? Cleveland, while an up-and-coming team, isn't exactly a destination that screams stability. Dak has built a pretty solid relationship with the Cowboys organization and the fan base. Why would he leave that for the uncertainty of the Browns, especially when you consider their recent struggles? No offense to Browns fans, but it's not exactly the most appealing move for a quarterback like Dak, who's still in the prime of his career. And then, there's the dead money issue. If the Cowboys were to trade Dak, they'd have to eat a significant chunk of his contract. We're talking about a huge financial burden that would make the deal not worth it. The Cowboys would be on the hook for millions in dead money, which would severely limit their ability to improve the roster in other areas. So, while rumors like this are fun to talk about, let's face it, there are a lot of hurdles in the way. It's not just about finding a trade partner, it's about the money, the no-trade clause, and whether Dak would even be willing to leave a situation where he's been successful. But of course, we've all seen how the NFL can surprise us, right? But right now, this trade rumor feels more like a distraction than a legitimate possibility. Now, before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Do you think Dak should stay with the Cowboys, or would you be open to seeing the team move on with a different quarterback in the future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm really curious to see where you stand on this. Stay tuned for the final thoughts coming up next. We'll wrap everything up and take a look at what's next for the Cowboys. All right, we've covered a lot today, from the Dak to the Browns rumors, the frustrating ceedee Lamb rule, to the backup quarterback situation with Trey Lance. So, let's take a moment to recap everything and look ahead at what's really important for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. First, the Dak Prescott trade rumors. While they're fun to discuss, it's clear that the chances of Dak getting traded right now are pretty slim. Between the no-trade clause, the financial implications, and the fact that Dak has a solid future with the Cowboys, it's just not happening anytime soon. As much as some fans might want to change, it's important to remember that Dak is the guy for now, and likely for the foreseeable future. Then there's the ceedee Lamb rule. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially for a player like ceedee, who's been such a trendsetter. The NFL's decision to penalize a simple celebration with a 15-yard penalty feels like overreach. But as always, the league is finding ways to make the game a little less fun. Hopefully, this rule gets reconsidered, but for now, it's just another example of the no-fun league at work. Finally, the Cowboys need to figure out their backup quarterback situation. Trey Lance's departure leaves a hole, and while Will Grier might be a solid option, the team should seriously consider bringing in a more experienced backup. Dak's health is crucial, and the last thing we need is to be caught off guard without a capable backup. So, Cowboys Nation, what's next? There are bigger issues to focus on, like solidifying the roster and making smarter decisions in the offseason. But I want to know what you think. What's your take on the Dak trade rumors and the new NFL rule? Do you think the Cowboys need to find a new backup, or is the team set for the upcoming season? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on all things Cowboys.